Well, good morning. Welcome back to another video. It's about 6 o'clock in the morning now. We did actually have some mist here when I first arrived at 5:30, but a lot of it's burnt off now, unfortunately. We had a lot of rain last night, a lot of rainfall. Today the weather's supposed to be a lot nicer, you know, later on in the day. Chance of showers this morning, and tomorrow's the same. So I'm going to try and get out today and tomorrow because the forecast isn't good for Saturday and Sunday. It's supposed to downpour all weekend. So I've come back to the forest. You know, I've told you before, it's a location that I am going to be coming to a lot lately because of the situation. I've come past this bush quite a lot and it's got these flowers on it, and I've noticed that the hummingbirds are attracted to it. We get quite a lot of hummingbirds here. So I thought it'd be nice to get you some video footage of the hummingbirds, involve more wildlife and nature in my video, you know, because people want to see that as well. I'm going to hang around here for 10 minutes, see if we get any activity with the hummingbirds. If not, I can always come back later on. I don't want to leave it too late because it's nice to get in the forest early as well, before this light gets too harsh, and we'll see what images we get. Now, I was really pleased with the image that I got last week. The greens in that part of the forest are so rich and vibrant, and we didn't have any sunlight coming in. We literally just had the reflection of the sky on the moss, but it made for a really good picture. I was really pleased with it. So yeah, here's to a good day, and I'm going to carry on in the forest now. Hopefully I can show you these hummingbirds, and we'll see what else we find today. So I've had a wander around the beginning of the forest. I'm not coming across any images yet, but what I've done differently this time when I've walked in, I've came over to the edge of the forest where you've got this morning side light coming in, just to see if I can see any images. The only thing with this part of the forest, there is a lot of deadfall, and you haven't got them old trees like I always go on about with the lovely green moss. A lot of the green moss is dying off now. It's going more yellow than green, and it's starting to wilt, so it doesn't look as nice. But you still have got areas of the forest where it's rich and green. I came across the image that I took last week, the first image I took with the branch and the buds in the background. Now them buds have actually opened now, so I was quite surprised. It's only been a few days, so spring's well underway now. I'm really looking forward to spring. I got to see another sapsucker, got a bit closer this time, so that was great. Now I came past this tree, I've come past it before, but I've never thought about, I just couldn't see an image. And I think what it was, because by the time I've come back this way, the sunlight's been up. But I've walked past it this morning, there's no sunlight on it. The sun comes out, it comes and goes, but luckily at the moment when I've walked past, the sun's actually behind some cloud. But I love the shape of this tree, I love the bend. So I took the camera off the tripod. I've had a good walk around for a good 10 minutes. Tried it in horizontal, tried it in portrait, and I've found that portrait works. Now I can use these trees here to frame the shot. I've got the foreground, I've got these bushes. There is a slight breeze today, But I'm not particularly bothered about having the bushes in focus because the main subject's going to be on here. But next to the camera, well above the camera there's a tree with some new growth on, some buds. And I'm using that to kind of fill in the top left corner. So the trees, the new growth, and the main focus point, you know, I think it'll work as an image. I quite like it. No, we always don't know till we get back in post. Sometimes the worst images make the best images, so we'll just have to see. And I'm pleased that I've found an image because I am struggling today. The forest, I think it gets harder every time you come. We'll probably be able to see behind us, we've actually got some mist coming into the forest now. Really beautiful, it really is nice. It just shows you how quick the weather's changing today. There was a forecast of rain, well, showers this morning at some point. We'll see how that last image worked out. I'm actually not that far from where I took the shot. So because this mist started to come in, I might actually go back to it and just have a quick look to see if we get some thick mist in there. That would be nice. But if not, we'll carry on. This light's amazing at the moment, but there's no images around it, I don't think. But we'll carry on and we'll have a look anyway. The light comes and goes pretty quick. You know, 1 minute it's really bright and then next minute it goes dark in the forest again. The mist that we had earlier, it literally lasted 2-3 minutes, gone. So I didn't make it back to the image I took of the tree, which I'm pleased that I seen. You know, I wouldn't have seen it if the light was on the tree. I would have just probably walked past it. But it just shows you sometimes it's good not to have the light, and then it balances the image out a bit more. This is one of them burnt out trees. If you remember in my last video, I was on about every now and again you come across a tree that's burnt out. But this one must have been burnt out years ago because there's so much green moss on the side of the bark and on the trunk. But inside it, it's actually hollow right through the centre. I'm surprised it's still standing. It's quite amazing, really. I've actually done the opposite now to what I've done this morning. You'll have noticed this morning that I went to the edge of the forest to try and catch that early morning light. Now, because it's getting a bit later in the day now, the light's starting to get a bit higher, so it's getting a bit more harsh. So I'm actually looking for areas where it's a bit softer and there is a bit more shadow. So I've gone a bit deeper into the forest. It is really nice today, you know, it's lovely and quiet. I did see a tree creeper, so I got you some video of a tree creeper. It hung around long enough for us to move the camera around and focus in on it. So I've got you a bit of wildlife today, and we'll just continue with this walk. Keep getting clumps of moss coming down. off a tree here, but I've noticed that there's a bird in the top and it must be picking the moss off the tree. So there is plenty of wildlife about today. No bears or cougars, thankfully. Well, good morning, welcome back. It is the next day now. Like I said earlier in the video, I was going to continue walking around, and if I didn't come across any images I was going to come out the following day, so that's what I have done. Now I'm here at about 5:30 in the morning. Now I was unloading my stuff out the car there, and just before I took my bag out I looked over my left shoulder and there was a coyote going up the path, so that's my first coyote I've seen this year. I'm quite surprised I haven't seen them here before, but yeah, I have photographed them in the past. They're always interesting to photograph. So we'll see what we can find today. We'll head on to these trails and here's to a good day. Well, I think I've came across my first image for today. It's quite an interesting image. I think bendy trees are starting to be a theme in this video. I've noticed these two trees. It's quite strange actually. This one's bowed to the right and that one's bowed to the left. Now we have got trees encroaching on them, so it'd be nice if they were totally separate and there was no tree behind them, but you know, we can't have that. But I just like the shot, I just think it's interesting, so I'm going to go for it. We haven't got any morning light coming in yet. It won't be far away, I wouldn't have thought. So I'm going to take some images now, and then I'll take some as we're getting some sunlight in, just to see how the image changes. You know, because the light is going to affect it, it's going to change it and give it a different look. Now what I don't like about it is obviously the trees directly behind the bendy tree there, but the foreground's really messy. What it is, because part of the trail runs through this area. Now if we had some nice foreground I'd be able to go a lot lower in the shot, but I can't unfortunately. But because I like the bendy trees so much, you know, it might not be a perfect composition, but I still think it's interesting, so I'm going to take the shot. I've moved on from the last shot, a bit further into the forest now. Now, the area I was just at, the sunlight's actually making its way in there. So I tried a shot there. I don't know if it's worked, because I didn't like the foreground. The foreground's really messy and the crop's tighter than I would have liked, because of the bent tree to the right hand side. So maybe a different time of day, you know, maybe different weather conditions, it might work, but it's a good idea to always take a reference shot and go back. I will put the shot up still so you can have a look and you can see my reasoning why I didn't like it. You know, also the bendy trees, they did have trees behind, so they weren't separate, but it still created the arch, so it was worth a shot. So I've moved on to this shot here. Now this is a bit interesting. Now I've walked past this a couple of times and you wouldn't even think there was an image there. It's like this old tree trunk with these roots growing off, but they actually look like arms and hands. So I came by, I think it was last week, but the sun was still up. But when I looked at it, it was really harsh light coming in behind, so it didn't really work. I had to go down into the forest because you are up on a path here. So I had to go into the forest to kind of stand on somewhere to see if I could get level with it. Because the more level with it you are, you know, the straighter your trees are going to be. Mosquitoes everywhere. So always try and get on a level if you can, and that's going to make sure your trees are going to be a little bit straighter. You know, some of them go off at different angles anyway, so you can't eradicate it all, should I say. I'm going to take it from in the forest, like I said. I am going to be down below. It's still early and we haven't got the sunlight in this part of the forest yet. So what that means is the sky, you know, it's not going to bother the shot too much. I just like the image. Now, I haven't got any breeze now, so I've actually put the polarizer on because there's no breeze, no movement in these leaves whatsoever. And what I found earlier was you've got a really sheen on these leaves. They're plasticky like, so it just spoils the shot. I want everything to be deep green with this bit of a trunk, this witch or whatever it is. I'm going to put the 24mm on and I'm going to go wide, and I'm going to try anyway. I'm going to see if we get a sunburst coming in and see if I can create a sun star. I'd like the sun star around this arch, you know, if I could get it in there somewhere, but we don't know till the sun comes up a bit more. The only problem we're going to have with shooting wide, we are going to introduce sky, you know, because we're shooting from down below. So we'll see how this image works out, and I'll put the image that I took earlier from the beginning of the day, and you can have a look at that shot and see where my problems lied with that shot. And it just goes to show that you can find images anywhere. We've had some interesting images this morning. It all seems to be about shapes of trees, which is good because it's something different. But it just goes to show you can walk past that old bit of a root there, old bit of a tree trunk, and you wouldn't even know there was an image there. And depending on the light and the conditions, that also determines whether there's actually a shot there. You know, I came the other day and it was really bright and there was hot spots in the trees in the back here. It just wasn't balanced at all. It really looked nice because the roots and that off the trunk were backlit, but it didn't work because we had all these highlights on the leaves of the bushes in the foreground. But I like the thought process, and it's always good to find something different. Forest photography, it does get you thinking. That's what I'm enjoying about it. You know, I have come on a different day, the light's slightly different, and I've walked the same bit of trail, but I've came across different images. I am missing my street photography at the minute. I used to like getting out and doing some street photography because that was kind of similar. You know, you're looking for areas of light and you're looking for subjects within that light, or vice versa. So I am missing my street photography. We'll see when I get back if I have been successful with an image. It's been a bit of a struggle the last couple of days. You know, the weather's been very changeable. We had that mist yesterday, I was so lucky to see this mist and the light, and everything was perfect, but the area of the forest I was in, it was just, there wasn't an image there, there wasn't an image around, so it was quite frustrating really. It was like the weather was teasing us. And I've come out today, and I know it was going to be kind of start off with a blue sky. We did have the mist this morning when I first came, but that dissipated quite quick, you know, on the cloud. It didn't hang around for long when I entered the forest there. But it is getting a lot brighter now. It still is early morning, but what I want to do is I want to leave that for another day. I want to recce some more of the trails around here, see if I can see any images so you can see in my next video. So if you like the content in my channel, please subscribe. And to all new subscribers, thanks for subscribing, it's much appreciated. Leave a comment below. It's always great to hear your comments and let us know what you think of the images, and I'll speak to you next time. So join us again for another video. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.